online communication services are great for consumers, but they're not the same thing as traditional telephony services. So it's not the same sending a text message as it is getting a WhatsApp. They work in very different ways, so they shouldn't be regulated in the same way. That would be our message. But we do think that the rules that were designed for traditional telephone companies back in the 1980s and 1990s, they're not suitable now for modern internet companies, but they're probably not suitable also for modern telephone companies. And so what we would argue is that the best way to make sure there's a level playing field for all is to bring the regulation down for those kinds of modern services on top of the network, not just for us, but for telecoms players as well.
There are certain services where they are not obliged now to inform you beforehand of the conditions. For example, WhatsApp is an example. They have terms and conditions, but they are not obliged by this. And by this legislation, by the extension to these services, we want also these providers to provide information to the consumers in a clear way before the consumers can, for example, download an app. We think the information in the contracts has to be clear. Has to be clear for the consumer in telecom services. There has to be comparison tools, for example, for prices. This part we think it should remain.
New developments in innovation in the whole telecom and in the whole digital world can evolve quicker in Europe than they did in the last years. Europe lost position if you look to the United States and the big over-the-top companies, and now we have a unique opportunity to see how much we can adapt the old telecom legislation, the position of the consumers, but also to enable the new industry that comes up. And I hope that this time we can do it in 1 year to finalize and to get an agreement with the Council, where last time we failed, for instance, on the spectrum.
My concern is that in the definition of electronic communication service, there are 3 categories. The first, which is clear, internet access service. The second, which is clear, which is interpersonal communication service. And the third one, which about the service consisting in the conveyance of signal. And the scope and the frontiers of this category is extremely vague, and it may be interpreted as covering any service provided by telecom operator, which would be completely disproportionate.
No, of course it's clear. And the category with which he had concerns is the conveyance of signals category, which is a category which has been there for 15 to 20 years, where there has been jurisprudence developed by the Court of Justice. So this is the category which is the clearest. So for me it's not clear why it's not clear for him.